guys, so today's video we're going to be doing some story time and also some eating. So a little bit of a mukbang. Well, kind of, because I don't think you're gonna be able to see the pizza, but we just ordered Papa John's for dinner. Pizza from Papa John's is the spinach one, so that's the one I'll be eating, and my husband always gets pepperoni and pineapple, so that's that. And their little garlic sauce. I've never really tried this, but I'll try it today. And then I just made myself some sweet tea. The reason for today's video is just because something I wanted to talk about. I've talked about this before on my old YouTube channel when this first happened to me. And it's just something that I've been seeing a lot in the news recently. Like, I mean, it's something that you see all the time, but I just feel like it's more frequent. Like, recently we had here in Syria where girls were getting sexually harassed and sexually assaulted by somebody following them home from the gym. It's just so scary and so terrifying. And like, now I feel like with women, that we constantly have to have, you know, be watching over ourselves and just being alert at all times. So that's why for today I wanted to tell you guys about I was almost kidnapped when I was a little kid. So the second time, it was like, I honestly don't think I was going to be kidnapped. I think I was going to be assaulted, sexually assaulted, I'm guessing. And I was already older. I was 19 years old. So I'm going to tell you first about the time that I almost got kidnapped when I was a little kid. Let me just take a bite of this pizza because I'm actually hungry. I was 7 years old. We went to Galveston as a family. We had family visiting from Mexico. They wanted to go to the beach and they wanted to go ride the ferry and do all this kind of stuff. So we spent the whole day at the beach, and I do remember this older white woman. She was in the ferry as well, and I remember her kind of just being around us the whole time. She looked like she was in her, I want to say, late 30s, early 40s, and she was alone. That's one thing I noticed. She was by herself, and I was like, why does this lady kind of keep coming around like everywhere we're at on the ferry? So then we get off the ferry, and my parents and my family decide to stay at the ferry location to have a picnic. And we're sitting there having the picnic with the family, eating, and by this time I want to say it was like 7 o'clock, like 7ish, because it was already getting dark. It was already getting kind of late. Does anybody eat ranch with their pizza? I do. I love ranch with pizza. And my husband always has to get pineapple on his pizza. He's a pineapple pizza guy. And I don't mind. I don't really care. I'll eat whatever. I'm not a picky eater. So around like the picnic area, my family was like sitting across one end, had these huge statues, and me being a little history nerd, like I've always been attracted to those type of signs that like talk about history, or when there's a statue that has like a little bit of biography, like I want to know what it is. So my parents sadly were not paying attention to me, and they didn't realize that I had run off, and I had just ran off so I can go see the statue and see what it was talking about. And it was actually talking about in Galveston when we had that huge tidal wave that came and destroyed a lot of, you know, in the 1900s, a lot of Galveston. It was talking about that. I'm reading it, I feel somebody like come next to me and like put their hand here and like kind of like stroke my hair, and I look up and it was the white lady that had been following us around at the ferry. And my senses immediately, like as a little kid, I knew that I was not safe, like, you know. And then I felt bad because I was nowhere near my parents. Like, my parents were way on the other side of the park. So she starts trying to talk to me, asking me if, like, what am I reading? And I'm just like, obviously, stranger danger, don't talk to strangers. So I was trying not to talk to this lady and trying to, like, run away. But anytime I was trying to move, like, she'd kind of get in front of me. And she starts telling me, do you want candy? Do you want a Coke? Like, I have Cokes in my car. And she kept pointing to her car. And I noticed that at her car, it was like an old school town car, you know? It was a baby blue color. And I remember looking because she was pointing. She's like, come on, just come get in the car with me and I'll give you a Coke. I have fresh Coke. And I look, and there was an old white man sitting in the car. on the passenger side. And I started getting really, really scared. And I was like, I don't drink Coke. I don't want Coke. I don't want candy. And she's like, come on, get in the car. And I was telling, by this point, I started freaking out because she started trying to grab my arm. And as she starts doing that, I had told myself, well, the only thing I can do is scream. And hopefully if she, if I can't run from her, I can scream and hopefully somebody can hear me, someone around the park or something. But I honestly feel like it was just my family at the park, or I don't know if that was the fear going through my head. As this starts to happen and I start trying to yank my arm away from her and telling her no, the man from the car actually started getting out of the vehicle as well to, I don't know, I guess to come help her. And he starts getting out of the car, and he was struggling to get out of the car. But by this time, one of my cousins and his girlfriend at the time were walking to the restroom, and they saw me, and I started screaming, and they came towards me. And once they came and started yelling my name, like the white lady let go, and she started yelling at me, saying that I don't know, I don't even remember what she was saying, but she started yelling at me, saying that like I had been rude to her, and that I was trying to take some stuff away from her. And my cousins, like, they didn't even speak English, so they couldn't even talk to this lady. But I think they sensed my fear, and they started like yelling at me, like, what are you doing? You're over here by yourself. And I started crying hysterically at this point, because like I was like, oh my god, like if it wasn't for them, like I could have just got stolen by this lady that, like a woman. Like I never would think that you would get stolen by a woman. Like you're always told to like look out after men, that they're the ones that want to steal you. But nowadays, like with all this sex trafficking stuff, or a lot of the times women, they help catch prey, if you want to say, for like their partners or for whatever. So that was very scary. And I ended up, my cousins told my parents and everything, and I was crying. So my parents were like, oh my god, what happened? And I'm over here telling them. And of course my mom's freaking out, my dad's freaking out, but they ended up getting mad at me for like, running away and not paying attention to my surroundings, and like, being by myself, because I was a little kid. I wasn't supposed to. I'm gonna tell you about the one when I was 19. That one is still something I actually think about a lot sometimes, and it still scares me. My bad. It still scares me to this day, just because it was when I first started driving. I was 19, and it was my first car. And it's when I started driving, hanging out with my friends and driving to places, because when you have your first car, you're trying to drive everywhere. And I remember my parents, like before I started driving, they gave me all these like rolls, and the wings from Papa John's are different. They're like grilled, I don't know if they're fried, but they taste grilled. And another roll that they had to this day that I still think it's a really good tip is I couldn't girlify my car. Like I wanted to put pink rims on it. I wanted to change out like the Honda emblem, put like a little Hello Kitty, or put like lashes, or just make the car more girly. But my dad and my mom were very strict on that. They've always been super strict on that type of stuff. And they said, just simply because you're letting someone that wants to hurt women out of a huge parking lot, they're gonna know like, hey, that's a girl's car. And some of my friends, they wanted to go try yogurt. It was like when yogurt barely started popping up in Houston, or I don't know if it's when I started like getting into yogurt. But I remember that me and like 4 of my friends wanted to go have yogurt, and we went to Swirl Yogurt, and went back to her house. I had to park in the street, and I had to actually park across the street from her house because all the parking was taken on this side as well. And where I had to park, the light was out in the street, and it was kind of dark. And that's my mistake. Number one, I shouldn't have parked there. I should have found a closer place to her house to park instead of parking that far. I'm like leaving my friend's house, and this, well, I can't really call her a friend now that I think about it, because she walks me outside and she didn't even wait for me to get in the car. That was another thing. Like, guys, wait for your friends to get in the car and actually take off, because she didn't wait for me to get in my car. Like, she just walked me outside and that was it. Like, I remember turning back and looking, and she was already inside her house. I remember just walking to the car, and I did look around. Like, I did try looking around, but it was dark. But I did feel like someone was looking at me. When you feel that someone's looking at you, but you don't know from where. So I was kind of like looking. I mean, I didn't see anybody. So on my Honda, luckily, this is such a genius thing about cars that I love, and I actually look for this when I'm like purchasing a car, is that as soon as you put the key in the ignition for my Honda, it automatically locks the door. And that, to this day, I honestly think that's what saved my life, the way that the car just automatically locked, because I didn't think to do that. Like, I didn't think to lock the car right away. But I sat there, and all this happened in a matter of seconds, guys, like minutes. Honestly, it wasn't like I was there for like 5 minutes just chilling. No, I had just walked into the car, sat down, and I put the key in the ignition and it locked, and I was connecting my phone to the charger. And as I was doing that, I heard someone start yanking at my door, and I turn around and look, and it was a guy in a hoodie, a gray hoodie. And I remember like he had the hoodie over his head, and like I could tell that he had long curly hair, because like it was like coming out, like talking to me in Spanish and English, telling me, open the door, open the door, open the door. And I was frozen. Like, I was like, no, you know, like I'm like, oh my God. And I was parked, like I said, in an area that was dark, and there was cars around me, so I was gonna have to like pull out. And then to top it off, like where my friend lives, it's like she lives in an intersection where it is a one-way street. So I would, you know, and it's a busy street, you guys. So like there was a lot of people passing, but since it was dark, I feel like, and late already, like it wasn't as, no one was gonna hear me, no one was gonna see me. And like I said, I was frozen. I couldn't believe that there was like a man at my door yanking it, and he started cussing me out, telling me to open the freaking door. And this is something that my mom told me when I started driving. She told me, if anyone ever tries to attack you or like, you know, assault you, get ready to throw your car at them. Like, run them over, like do whatever you have to do to be safe. My pizza. And she was like, do whatever you have to do to be safe. And that was going through my mind. But he was at the door. And like I said, it was like I was in shock. And then I had to start thinking quickly, because this guy ended up putting his hands in his sweatshirt. And when he started doing that, I was like, what is this man doing? You know, like, and by this time I had my car on, and I was trying to like get out of the parking, and like he was still right on my tire, like right there, not letting me get out. He proceeds trying to break my window, and he's hitting my car window with his fist in his sweatshirt. And I want to say he hit it twice before it actually started looking like it was about to start shattering. And like I said, at this time I'm like pulling out, and I'm honking, hoping, you know, to get someone's attention, someone's gonna run out or something. And it wasn't scaring him away. So I said to myself, okay, I either let this guy break my window and I get assaulted. Like, I didn't know if he wanted to steal my car or if he wanted to hurt me, or I run into the traffic, the one-way traffic, and cause an accident. This is what my mind was thinking, you guys. And like I said, I honestly told myself, like, I'd rather make a scene and cause an accident to get this guy away from me than of having him assault me or break my window, and I don't know what could have happened. So I ended up pressing the gas. I was also scared to run him over, I'm not gonna lie. That's what I was afraid of too, but it was either my safety or that. And like I said, his voice and the way he was screaming and the way he was talking to me, he was cursing me out and everything. Like I said, I knew he wanted to hurt me. Like, you could tell. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't nice. I don't know if he wanted to, like I said, if he wanted to steal my car, my money, or he wanted to do something to me. Like, I don't know. So I ended up pressing the gas and going as fast as I could. And when I did, I honestly think back to this day that I did run him over like a little bit, like not a lot, but enough to hurt him, because I remember looking, like, he fell back like this when I ended up turning and going around him like this. He ended up falling and rolling, and that's how I actually got to see what exactly he was doing. And I remember like driving, and I was shaking and just crying so bad. I started having an anxiety attack, a panic attack, just thinking about that. And you guys, I felt like one, I felt so bad and so guilty because I was like, you weren't paying attention. Like, you know, I was, one, my friend didn't even care to look if I was in the car. Like, what kind of friend is that, right? And then second, I wasn't paying attention. Like, I was on my phone, even though I felt a little sketchy. Like, I didn't stop to like look around, see if someone was hanging around my car or anything like that. And you know, but I feel like I moved correctly. Like, it all happened, like I said, a matter of seconds, a matter of minutes. Even though when I'm telling the story, it sounds like I was like taking a while, but the only things that were going through my mind was like, cause an accident, make a scene, make this thing stop, or let this guy break your window, and then God knows what's gonna happen. You know, I have my reasons to be paranoid. And if you know anything about like me, I'm a true crime lover. I love true crime. I love to study about serial killers and everything like that. Why? Because I love to know how they think. I want to know their steps before they take them. And it's crazy. Like, if you know about the case of Ted Bundy, like, he would actually hurt women in parking lots, like in plain daylight. Like, he would find a way to get close to a girl and around her car, and as soon as you know he was around you, he would either hurt you, hit you beside your head, throw you in the car, and you know, eventually that's how he got a lot of his girls murdered and raped. And also, like, here in Houston, I want to say about 2-3 years ago, I remember a story in our local area, in our local Walmart. A girl ended up almost getting raped. Well, one girl was found dead in her car, and then a few days later, a girl was actually assaulted. She went shopping late at night. She was walking to her car and she wasn't paying attention. She did say that. And as soon as she was putting her groceries into her car, a man came up behind her, tried throwing her in her car and raping her. He started taking her clothes off, but she was able to kick him off and started screaming and got help from people around her. She made a big scene so somebody can actually see what was going on and helped her and saved her. I actually made a list on how I feel, certain things that I feel would be good tips on how we can stay safe as women and how we can just stay more alert. So obviously the number one thing is, when walking back to your car, make sure that you are off your phone and being observant. I used to think back in the day that being on my phone with my sister or my mom as I was walking to my car, I actually have done studies showing that it's not smart, because the other person instead is in shock. They're not going to call 911 to keep you safe. Instead, they're going to be more likely in shock and wanting to hear everything that's happening, because they want to make sure that you're okay or what's going on. So a lot of times that person's not going to hang up and call 911. So number one thing, don't be on the phone talking to someone or be distracted. If anything, have your phone ready to call 911 if anything. As you're walking to your car, make sure that you're looking underneath your car, you're looking around your car, any vehicles that weren't parked there before, or like, you know, a lot of the time, sometimes people that are picking up women and stuff like this are driving like those big vans. So try to see if any of that stuff is around your car. And if there's ever a time where you don't feel safe, like, have somebody walk with you, someone you trust, or an employee from the store that, you know, you can, like a security officer or something like that, walk you back to your car. If you're being paranoid, oh well, it's better to be safe than sorry. So another good tip is to notice if anyone's lingering, again, like with that lingering around your home. Like if you're gonna go run errands, or you're gonna go, you know, go to the grocery store, whenever you're coming home, before you're just gonna open the door, make sure that you're alert and see if you see any weird people parked around your home, because a lot of times also intruders that come and like hurt women, and when they're, you know, around their houses, like they've been parked there studying your every move for like weeks already, you know. So that's a good thing too, to be alert. And obviously locking your car doors as soon as you get in the car. That is a habit now. Like I said, I don't even wait for my key to do it for me or my car to do it for me. As soon as I get in the car, I lock the doors. Because crazy, a lot of people don't lock their doors, and a lot of people don't even have their doors locked because their cars don't do it. And some women have even been assaulted while at red lights, where people just open their door and get in. Like, so please lock your doors, you guys, as soon as you get in the car. Lock it. Walking with your keys in between your fingers, just to get ready to throw hands or hit anybody. Also having a pepper spray on your keys. I've always used to have pepper spray on my keys, and I think it's really important to have it just in case. And also, don't be afraid to fight dirty. If anyone is attacking you, scream, you know, ask for help, poke people's eyes out as hard as you can. I mean, do whatever is necessary. Also, don't check in on Facebook. I know when we go out, that's like the number one thing people love to do is like check in on all their social medias, like where they're at, what they're doing, having drinks and this and that, which like it's cool, but don't put your exact location. I tend to always put the place when like if I do want to tag the place I'm at, I always actually tag it after I'm gone, like when I'm not there no more, because with social media nowadays, like you can have so many stalkers, whether it be men or women stalking you, or people, you know, from your past that are like weirdly obsessed or something like that, and you want to avoid that. So don't tag yourself where you're at the moment, exactly at your location. You know, that's another way to stay safe online, so don't do that. And like the tip of my parents of not decorating your car so girly, don't decorate your windows. That was another thing my parents, like, also as a child, they never let us decorate our windows with like little stickers or anything to draw attention, because they would always say like if an intruder wants to come in through a window of a kid, they know which window that is just by looking outside and seeing the little stickers. So the same goes with your car. I know sometimes we love to make it girly and stuff, but it's just gonna draw attention to us, and trying to avoid that. And now in this age, like where we're constantly meeting people online, like if you don't know someone very well, whether it be a girl or a guy, do not, like me, I don't trust easily, but I feel like some people are just so trusting and they easily go out with this person that they just met online to chill at their home, and that to me is not safe, because you never know what this person's motives are, what this person can do. And my thing is, like, if you're in that environment where you're dating, or you're that environment where you're getting to know someone, let people know where you're gonna be, who you're gonna be with, what that person drives, and like I said, what time you're supposed to kind of be home. Like, this was something I am so strict about on my sister. Like, anytime she goes anywhere, I want to know who, where, and what she's gonna be doing and all that stuff, just because I always tell her, like, if you go out somewhere and you didn't tell anybody, like, how are we supposed to know where to look for you? Where are we supposed to start? You know what I mean? If you kept it under wraps, like, and you end up in a ditch somewhere, like, how are we supposed to know where to find you? Like, who was the last person you were with? So if you're starting to meet new friends and they're inviting you over to their house, then let somebody know in your family, like, where you're going, like I said, who you're gonna be with, their names, and all that. Like, when you're shopping online, like through Facebook, like if we all have heard that story about this lady that recently got killed, and they actually took the baby from her womb, and she was shopping online through the Facebook market, and she showed up to this person's location and ended up killing her. So that's the thing, like I say, stay alert. Like me, I'm always super paranoid whenever me and my husband would do anything through Craigslist or Facebook. Every time we pull up at the location, the first thing I do is I take pictures of the person and I take pictures of the license plate. My husband would always call me paranoid, but like I said, you just never know what this person can do. They can assault you, they can steal from you. I don't like that. And also, I would always make him tell his parents, like, hey, we're gonna go shop, or we're gonna go sell something, you know, online. So, and also, never ever ever go by yourself. Never go anywhere and meet someone that you're selling or anything alone. Do not do it. And never open the door for anyone if you're not expecting anyone, you guys. This is super important. You don't know how many times, how many stories I've read about women, about people, older women, old people who have gotten robbed, killed, raped, when they've opened the door for someone that looked like they were working for a company or something, and those people weren't even doing anything. Like, they were just at your, you know, your house ready to hurt someone or rob you. So don't do that. Last thing is take alternative routes. If you're a person that goes to the gym, if you're a person that goes on walks, or if you're just a person that runs daily errands or something, like, have alternative times to the time that you're leaving. Like, don't have a set schedule for everything. Don't have a set schedule for going to the gym. Don't have a set schedule for when you're going on these walks. Like me, I'm a person that I enjoy going on walks, but if I'm going by myself, like, I always have different times. I never go at the same time, because a lot of these times, these people that are like stalkers, or people that, you know, are rapists, or people that assault people, they study a lot of their victims' schedules, and they try to kind of learn, okay, you know what, this person likes to go to the gym every day around 6 o'clock. They get home around this time, or what. Change it up every week, change it up every day if you can. Change it up every week. Don't get in the habit of having like a set schedule, like I said, because it's always better to just be alert, know your surroundings, know what you're doing. And if anyone's ever making you feel uncomfortable anywhere, don't be afraid to tell someone. To be safe than to end up being hurt, or worst case scenario, something horrible can happen. And I don't want that for any of my girls that watch me, or for anyone out there. I just want you girls to stay safe, stay alert, and like I said, don't be afraid to fight dirty. Do what you need to do to stay safe, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. And if you have any tips on how you like to stay safe, let me know down in the comments down below. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.